Oh, no, well, I'm going to turn it off, but yeah, you can do it. So I'm going to make your phone the host, I think.
Oh, okay, we can try that.
All right, I'm looking now. It's not letting me. All right, so I have to make your laptop the host. Okay?
Okay. Yeah,
All right.
are we going to have the same problem again where there's no audio because I've got two devices going?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. Try to record. I can't make your phone the I can't make your phone the host. I guess that because I don't know. I don't know why, but apparently that's not an option.
Okay.
So I already made your laptop the host. Just don't forget to record, and hopefully we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
All right. Have a
Yeah.
great meeting. I'm gonna go back to having dinner with my wife. All right. Cool. Have a great
okay.
meeting.
Enjoy,
Enjoy.
George.
All right.
Take
All right.
care.
Bye bye. Okay.
Okay. Bye. Okay. So welcome, Keisha, Egeria, Judith, Dr. Burke, Ursula, and I'm going to wait a few more minutes because we're short a whole bunch of environmental concerns committee members.
Carla, did you test recording before?
Good evening.
John, how you doing, buddy? And everybody else.
Yeah.
Did you test it?
Hey, Uncle Lee.
I'm not sure I know how to test it.
Okay.
I just remember it
Well,
says it's recording.
So it's recording, so you must be recording.
Right, but there was a setting I didn't know about in the last meeting where I presented, where I have to record to the cloud, not to my PC, and I'm just not.
Now. Whatever it is recording. I'm looking at it right now. So meeting recording is in progress. So whatever you're doing is working.
Oh, okay.
According to this, anyway.
Yes. Okay, that's good.
Okay. So to your point, you're still missing 3 of your members, and I don't know where they are, and we're all adults, and so I'm definitely not going to call them. But you're missing Mr. Eichelberger, you're missing Mr. Rado, and you're missing Mr. Duran Manzanet.
Yes. Carmen Ortiz just called me on my other phone and asked me to forward her the invite. So I expect she'll be joining us shortly, but let's see, what time exactly is it?
Here. So you heard from her already.
Yes.
And of course,
okay. Well, yes. So, this was an introductory meeting, so I don't anticipate there will be any votes needed. So the fact that I'm missing 4 committee members at the moment probably won't matter in the long run. So, okay, let's get started. So this is the first meeting of Environmental Concerns Committee for 2022. I had meant for this to be an introductory meeting with new board members and new committee members just saying a couple of words about themselves. So I'll start and hope other people join while I'm talking. So I joined the community board 15 years ago. I was first on the Parks Committee, then Environmental Concerns, then in Legislative Affairs, which we dissolved, and now I'm back to Environmental Concerns. So previously, Environmental Concerns held workshops on things like home energy conservation, which included information about free home energy workshops, and then other topics like back then there was a wave of home foreclosures in the community. So we had a workshop on dealing with the feral cat colonies that moved into the abandoned properties. So now that the committee is back in place, we're looking to address the current issues that face the community. So right now, the main concern that was brought to my attention was the issue with the White Plains Road bike lanes and the trash that's accumulated there because the regular street cleaning vehicles, oh, why did my video stop again? Okay. Don't fit. So thanks to George and Ursula, we got some information from Department of Sanitation saying that they're going to deal with it the old-fashioned way with, I guess that means brooms, until they are able to, they ordered equipment apparently that fits down those bike lanes, but they won't be in for some time. So they said as soon as the snow melts, they'll get in there and clean up the accumulated trash. I don't know, Ursula, did you have anything to add to that?
No, that's about right.
Oh, okay. Okay, my camera's back on. So that's the main issue that's been brought to my attention. I was hoping to hear from other members of the community about other issues that are facing our committee and require our attention. But, oh, Dr. Burke, I see you have something to raise.
Yes, Madam Chair. So I want to ask, and bring this to, I guess, your attention and everybody else's attention as well. And if you cannot answer the question, that's okay. Maybe we can find some answers collectively. So I, live next to a absentee landlord, and this absentee landlord, pretty much all he does is collect money from the city of New York in the form of rent, and really could give a rat's behind about his tenants or his neighbors for that part. And so this particular landlord now has the garage door that's up, and of course in the middle of the winter. And I've seen skunks and raccoons and feral cats enter that garage, and at some point, I'm sure they're going to attract rats in there as well. So, I guess my question is, although it's private property, it is a health hazard. Now, for whatever reason, their tenants are terrified of the landlord, and so they want me to do the dirty work for them. And I'm like, well, you live there, I don't. But I can and plan on filing a complaint, but again, I don't know if DSNY will handle that. So again, Madam Chair, I don't know if you have the answer or if Ursula has an answer, but how do we deal with something like that where we have property owners that, that are unlike the people at 3300 Palmer, but that have trash and garbage all within the confines of their garage. So it's well within their property line, but it's in the garage nonetheless.
See, Ursula.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry, John. Yeah.
No, I said Ursula. Ursula knows the answer.
So unfortunately, as far as raccoons and everything, they won't do a thing. They want you to hire your own exterminator to come capture them. What I can do.
Well, it's not that, Ursula. I mean, it's just garbage is all in the garage. I mean, it's like if you pass by there right now, it's like you'll see all, from when eons ago when they were, renovating the apartment, I guess on either second floor or whatever, they just put all the garbage in the garage. And so again, the cats will, they go and do their thing, and then obviously the skunk will do a couple of them got killed, so I'm imagining that they will get caught. And I know the school across the street has captured some rodents as well. But
yeah, I can send somebody out. You just have to give me the address.
I will do that right now. I'll send it to you via email.
Okay, yeah, just send me the email. I'll give it to health department and sanitation, and I'll contact ASPCA about the cats. I know that they will come for the cats.
Right.
But as far as skunks and everything, they don't do anything.
Yeah, I mean the cats. I mean they're okay. The cats don't really bother me. I mean outside the fact they use my backyard as their own personal litter box, but other than that, yeah. I mean, but I cut my grass in the summer, so they're not.
All right. So shoot me the email and I'll take care of it.
All right, I'll do that right now.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. So we're. I'm sorry. Somebody.
Yeah, this is John Isaac. What I want to let you know is that the health department, not the health department, the sanitation, they're doing the same thing like DEP. We're making all these improvements and like with a green infrastructure and all that stuff, and no one is thinking about the maintenance aspect of the of all these improvements. So that's why they're a little behind in trying to find equipment and all that stuff, because that's like a little oopsie that everyone has been doing. I've been going to conferences and stuff, and no one is coming up with solutions to like clean. We've been installing all this porous pavement all over the place, and no one knows how they're going to clean it. And so like the bike lanes, they installed those and they had no idea how they're going to clean it. So now I'm actually meeting with them because we are meeting with all kind of vendors, trying out all kind of different machines and trying to find solutions to these problems. That's what I want to let you know.
Oh, okay. Thank you, John. Yes. As Ursula had said, sanitation ordered new equipment that will fit into those bike lanes. So eventually they're saying there's a solution. But yeah, in the meantime, we just have to stay on them to deal with it. So Carmen, I see you've joined. Do you have any input into the current conversation?
Let me unmute myself. Should I put myself can you hear me? I'm unmute myself. Yeah. Oh, well, I just want my garbage to be picked up since last week. It's still there because of the snow. That's my opinion. And the next thing is that they have, I heard that the mayor put in the new people for the sanitation department to take over the big job, the big CEO. So maybe that, we'll have some different people coming in. But also I've been calling the station, which is right around the corner of my house, and the phone is busy. So they haven't collected garbage since last Wednesday.
Right. So I did get something, maybe Ursula, from you saying collection. So today was our garbage collection day, and I got something saying it would be late. So,
Yeah, that's what
you
they're
know,
saying. Yeah. But we're gonna
yes,
have another storm tomorrow, so I guess it'll be another delay.
yes.
Carmen,
I mean, it's I'm sorry,
sorry.
Ursula.
I'll try to have it picked up tomorrow or Saturday. I'm gonna email him right now.
Okay. Yeah, it's particularly a concern in Woodlawn when there's late pickup because we've had a rat problem of late. So when the garbage sits out on the curb, you know, if it's a private house in a container with a secure latch on it, it's okay. But the apartment buildings are allowed to put out the garbage in just those plain black trash bags, and it invites vermin. So yeah, we stress about that when the garbage isn't picked up. Okay, Keisha, how about you? Any issues in your community?
So pretty much the same. I mean, I think trash is an issue everywhere, and I think absent landlords are also an issue in our community with trash, with abandoned cars in their driveways that are protruding onto the sidewalks, not taking into account neighbors who may be wheelchair bound and have to navigate around those. But what I wanted to say was, Sydney and I are working on a newsletter for our community board, and I think Ursula, if you wouldn't mind sharing, like whatever your contact is, right, so that you don't always have to be the person making the call. Like if the community knows who to reach out to, and we know that 311 isn't always the greatest resource, but if you have contacts that folks can reach out to, maybe we can put that information in the newsletter under the environmental concerns header. Like if you're experiencing issues with trash, if you're experiencing issues with, whatever, pests. And then we can indicate a contact number or a contact email so that people have that resource at their fingertips. That would be helpful. And I think that would, cut down some of the work that you have to do.
I don't have a problem with it. Just let me get the okay and I'll give it to you.
Okay, great. And if not, I mean, we can always continue to, publicize 311. Because they have been responsive in things that I have complaints about. But what they aren't great at is telling you who you should be in contact with. Like, say, if you contact the Department of Sanitation, it really should be the police department. They don't say, oh, no, that's not us. You should contact the police. They just kind of say that's out of our purview. But that's not really helpful because then you don't know who to contact. So any information you can help with would be great. And if they don't want people contacting them directly, then we'll continue to just push 311.
Right. So I agree with Ursula that question of how widely those contacts are shared should be discussed, because I think there is a certain value to the contact seeing that it's someone from the office or from the relevant committee making the call. So I think that's a topic for discussion, because if they start getting random calls from, a whole bunch of different people, they may just stop answering. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a good point, Carla. And maybe if they don't want direct contact, then maybe we can be the contact so that it's not all Ursula. It can be members of this community making those connections, building those relationships with those folks that work in the respective offices. So a very good point.
Yes. So exactly. It should be the committee's responsibility to build those relationships. The office already has those relationships. So let's work those relationships. So okay, I'm a little disappointed here. I'm still missing multiple committee members. So let's see what everybody else has to say, and then I guess, well, we'll sign off. Oh, Keisha, your hand is raised again.
Yeah, sorry. So I didn't properly introduce myself. So my name is Keisha Lago Martin. I am a member of Community Board 12. I've been serving for about a year now. I work at SUNY Purchase College. I am their director of conference planning, their government relations liaison, in addition to their FOIL officer. So I'm working constantly with legislators in the Westchester community and also in the Bronx, because many of the legislators' constituents in the Bronx are also students, faculty, and staff at Purchase College. And that's just a little bit about me. I'm also a member of Zeta.
Oh, so SUNY Purchase?
SUNY Purchase, that's me.
Oh, cool. I like that place. I used to take art classes there.
Oh, really? Well, come back to us. You know, we're always offering adult learning courses. We love to build relationships with community and our students, so we can talk about that offline.
Yes. So, yes, I didn't really introduce myself either, because I was hoping more people would turn up before we did introductions. But so I worked in project management, information technology, process improvement, but my other interest is artwork. So I do, well, not anymore due to the pandemic, but I did art classes with school kids about how to take what appears to be junk in your house, bits of twine, old wrapping paper, ribbons, light bulb wrappers, and turn them into collage art. So, yeah, so I took classes at SUNY in photography, and we printed our own photos in their darkroom. But then I ended up spending more time at Parsons just because I worked in Manhattan, so it was easier to get there than Purchase after, a day in the office. So that's me. Carmen, why don't you say a word or two about yourself? Your tenure on the board.
Well, tenure on the board has been a long time, and if this pandemic keeps coming, I probably won't be able to get out of the house and go out to the meetings, so that's one thing that I want to say. But the other thing is that I was an X-ray radiologist in Montefiore. I worked there for 35 years. I worked at Jacobi. I worked at Lincoln, and that was my medical history. I am a new grandmother.
Oh.
I have a 4-year-old now, so so I'm studying again, and I'm 28 years old. And,
yeah.
And I am, well, I love being in the community board because I learned a lot. I learned how the legislators do the laws and everything else like that, and the community, what input do we have, which is very minimum. But other than that, that's my story. I've been hello, 20 years. Well, wow. I was there from the time that Father Gorman and Carmen Rosa.
Rosa, yeah.
That's a long time, right?
Yes, and what you left out, Carmen, is that you served for many years as CB12 secretary.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
And I was a very big top organizer for 1199. So, I knew how to organize, when we were striking. So that's my history, how to organize people to do, to come out and fight. That's all I have to say.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Judith, do you want to talk a little bit about your background and how your interests as chair of economic and business services overlap with environmental concerns?
Well, anyway, my background is I was a former office manager with what was known as Bronx Lebanon, which is now Bronx Care. And I was also a former assistant district manager for a community board 3 for years. And I guess that's where I sort of got bitten by the concern aspect of the job, and now we work in communities. I think this committee will help. I guess we can help each other as we deal with the corridor, especially since that seems to be the bone of contention. At least it's sticking in my core about how we're not getting so much response from the vendors on that corridor, and how they maintain their property, even though they're renting from the owners of the buildings.
Oops, I lost somebody here.
Who did you lose, Carmen?
The screen. Let me see if I could get it back.
Don't worry about it, Carmen. You're okay. And it's just something that I have a great deal of concern, and I'm trying to work on some of the angles to see what I can do to stoke the fires. And now, hopefully, with the pandemic going down a little bit, maybe things will turn around and we can get some type of assistance from other sources in the area. And that's about it. Not that much.
Okay, well, thank you, Judith. And Egeria, do you have any comments?
Not much. I'm Egeria. I've been on the board about 6 years, about 5 years. I'm the first vice chair. I work for the Department of Health, and I do training for the Department of Health right now. As far as the environmental concerns, I think it is about, so how much of air quality is the environmental concerns about? Like, I know it's trash, that's kind of global, because I had the same problem that Carmen has. Trash has been on the block now for about a week. It's more than a week. They didn't come and pick it up. But in terms of the other things, I mean, would air quality, as far as the developers and around the developers, when they start to develop, would that be something that falls under environmental concerns?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sure it would be. I have just honestly not ever received a complaint about air quality. So I've never tackled that one. Okay. But I can see what you mean. If the developers are putting up a new building and sending a lot of particulate matter into the air, that would be an issue we would look into. It's just hasn't been reported to my knowledge to the board.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
If it's going on, in your community, please report it, and we'll work with the office to investigate whether the developer is taking proper precautions to prevent particulate matter from getting into the air you breathe.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So we're kind of short on participants tonight, so I think I'm going to call it an evening and work the phones tomorrow, so the next meeting is a little bit more populated. So does anybody else have any final comments before?
Dr. Burke.
Yes, please.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. So I just want to say that, first of all, I'm glad that all of you are here. And secondly, you know, as I hear your stories, I'm like, geez, I guess the advantage of being chair is that, you know, in at least in the first year anyway, just getting to know each of you intimately. So a couple of things that I want to say, in particular with the last topic that Madam First Vice brought up, as it pertains to developers and development. A lot of the, whether they be ULURP or HPD funded projects, they have to come before the community board. ULURP, because of course it's public land use, and of course HPD, like HPD funded properties have to come before us because, you know, they want a letter of support. I see Mr. Isaac says noise pollution as part of environmental concerns. He's right. But as it pertains to particulates, one of the things that they're supposed to submit is an environmental needs assessment. And one thing that I do, that I always subscribe to the New York State Department of Environmental Protection's website. So I get their newsletter almost every single day. And so that's what I would recommend the members of this committee do, is subscribe to that. That way you can learn about different things. I mean, and that's how, you know, I was able to teach myself about some of the things that the developers are and are not doing when they develop. I think, you know, John brought this up about, CO2 sequestration. This is why, again, you know, even though people claim that I'm anti-development, which I'm not, it's a type of development because, again, the more concrete that we build, of course, that means the more trees that we're not having. And of course, we're not having the trees. Guess what? We're going to have more cars, you know, because we're going to have more people. We're going to have more CO2 being expelled from our bodies. And guess what? We're not going to have those sequestration, those natural sequestration tools, a lot of trees and so forth and so on. And therefore, our health risk, our air quality is going to decrease exponentially over time. And that's one of the drawbacks to the development, in my opinion. This is just my humble opinion based on the scientific training that I have. But to that end, one thing that I would also like to bring to the attention of the Environmental Concerns Committee is one thing that I think that would help us is as it pertains to organic recycling. You know, when I'm talking about organic recycling, I'm talking about food scraps. You know, I know that that's a program that, you know, was started and it's really only at one site up here. And I think that that's something that we need to look into as well, and also do a better job as a board. And this is where the newsletter is going to come in, as to how to reach our constituents so that we can better, instead of putting food scraps in a landfill where they can form methane gas and be even more detrimental to us, that if we could use those food scraps instead to make compost, that'll be, you know, a lot better. So at some point, Madam Chair, hopefully that's something that you and your committee can tackle as well. So again, thank you for your time. Mostly everybody knows about me, so I don't need to say anything about myself. So that's it. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Burke, for raising the issue about organic recycling. I used to hate that brown bin because it just got really pretty disgusting after a week or two. But now I miss it because I see how much food waste I throw into the regular trash. So I and a couple of neighbors did sign up online to renew that, to say, yeah, we're ready to restart when the Department of Sanitation is ready. And the email I got back said, you need to go and recruit more neighbors. We're not doing it for 10 people. We're not doing it for 20 people. So that is on the environmental concerns task list, to find out how they can help us. Can they give us flyers? You know, I've flyered in my 15 years on the board. I've done a lot of flyering. I'll put them under neighbors' doors, but we need some help because not enough people in Woodlawn have signed up. You know, I don't know what's gone on in the other neighborhoods of CB12, but we clearly need some support in marketing the effort. So that's definitely something I'm on.
So let me comment on that. So I mean, you know, Woodlawn is not the only neighborhood that's lacking. I could venture to say down here, you know, in the Williamsburg section as well. I think there's only one satellite drop-off point, and I forget where it is. I have it written down somewhere. I think I put it in one of my monthly reports, because I went to the Wakefield Taxpayers Association meeting, and I think Ms. Sanders had the representative in. So there's one satellite drop-off site in Wakefield. I hope and pray that I put it in the November or in the January monthly report. So I will look there, but but I don't have the exact location, so I'd have to call either Toba or Ms. Sanders to get that. But right now there's one satellite location for the entire community board, and I told this DSNY representative that's unacceptable. So you know, again, I have not attended the district service cabinet meetings, even though I need to, because it says that the chair or the chair's representative should be there to find out what's going on. Ursula, I don't know if you can provide some insight to that, but I think you know, we need to kind of sort of you know, get on that, because as I said before, I look at a lot of, you know, food waste that's generated, in particular where I live, where all these restaurants are. I mean, I know that they just alone generate tons of food waste, you know, just the restaurants by themselves. And so to have one satellite site is ridiculous, because as I stated before, what happens is that food waste turns into methane gas upon decomposition, which is even worse than CO2. So, because methane is explosive, CO2 is not.
Right. So thank you for that, Dr. Burke. I didn't mean to imply that Woodlawn is the main issue here. It's just we need a proof of concept.
Yes,
you know, we need some help. And since I live here and I'm really good with a roll of Scotch tape and some flyers, you know, I thought we could test some things out here. And if we manage to gain some traction, we can roll it out to our other 6 neighborhoods.
Right.
But,
no, I don't have a
you
problem
know,
with that. I don't have, I wasn't trying to belittle Woodlawn. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, no. I didn't mean, that.
Yeah.
You know, we just need to find a model that works and then roll it out. You know, we can test it out over here just because this is where I live. And again, I've done flyering before. You know, let's see if flyering works. Maybe it doesn't. You know, we have to test. You know, as a scientist, you know, there's always the proof of concept before you roll out, something. Oh, okay. John?
Ursula had a hand up also. Ursula, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we have not discussed this matter at DSC for a long time because they took it away because of budget cuts. And another issue was people weren't really participating.
Yeah.
They really did not participate.
I'm like one of the few persons on my block that composes. Yeah. And Dr. Burke.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, you know, it's work. It is work, and not everybody wants to do that work. You know, I did used to have a compost bin in my backyard, but that became problematic with the, you know, the critters. So those brown bins that were provided by the Department of Sanitation are nice because they have a nice sturdy clasp on them, so the critters can't get in. So yes, I did away with home composting, but everybody around here already got those brown bins. So we just need to get enough people to say they're willing to fill them up again and get Department of Sanitation to come and deal with it. So yeah, I'm open to any other suggestions and, you know, people who want to help put this on sanitation's radar.
I think part of it is education, caller. A lot of the people in this neighborhood, they're just not educated on living green, and they don't really care about their environment. It's their existence. That's it.
Yes. Oh, and I see, Keisha, you have your hand up again.
Yeah, so I just wanted to piggyback on what Mr. Isaac just said. I'm in complete agreement. They don't understand the benefits, but what I do know is that when it was required, people on my block in particular were participating. And then when it went away because of the budget cuts, I think it was like, whoo, God, you know, we don't have to do this anymore. And I had spoken to, you know, the Department of Sanitation, you know, the men who service my block, and asking about when it was going to return. I was told October. I do remember that back in August, because I was excited about it and posted it on my Instagram, on August 12th, 2021, the Department of Sanitation sent out notices about wanting to bring this back. But now it's like optional, like please sign up. And I think maybe they need to move from making it optional to making it mandatory. I think if people feel like they'll be ticketed and there's going to be, you know, a violation, or, you know, some type of fine that goes along with not composting, that they would be more inclined to do it.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Caller, this is pertaining to like last night also, when the DHS commissioner said that we just come to the community board just to come as a courtesy, and we get to build stuff in our community as of right. As you know, I was working in Westchester for about 16 years in the planning department. When the folks in Westchester said they didn't want something in their community, it wasn't built in the community. When the people in New Rochelle, Pelham, and all these places say we don't want it, it wasn't built. I had to put up with all kind of nonsense from even groups like the Dark Sky Society when I build my parks about the pollution of lights and all that stuff. I just feel bad because I feel like we don't have any right in our neighborhood in the Bronx to say anything. I mean, we could say stuff, but it seemed like whatever we say is in vain. No one does anything, you know? And it seemed like if we had a stronger backing in the community and a stronger say, I'm sorry, but our politicians has no spine. They're weak, you know? And that is really bothering me.
No, so I completely agree, John. I'm trying to think of a politically correct way to say this, but I'm not sure there is.
And I agree with Dr. Burke. We should not be building developments just to build developments. You know, it should be one that's, you know, that fits our master plan and meets everything that we need in this community. You know, just because a land is vacant, and, you know, sometimes, you know, the land needs to be vacant until we find a solution. You know, there we gotta be better than that.
Yeah. So my politically incorrect statement is that there's more wealth in Westchester than in the Bronx. So things happen differently. So we have to fight harder because it's not Westchester. You know, do you remember that whole thing years ago where they put up low-income housing? It was required. It was the Scarsdale judge who said more low-income housing needed to be put up because low-income people were being discriminated against. But he didn't live there.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were. I think you were probably working in Westchester there when that happened, and I just remember thinking,
we got laid off.
They're not putting. Yeah.
We got laid off because of that, because of the affordable housing. We were accepting grant from the federal government, community development block grant, and because Westchester was failing to abide by the affordable housing regulations, all the grants were taken away.
Yes, I do remember that. But they weren't proposing to put the low-income housing in Scarsdale, where the judge lived. So yeah, there's some of that going on.
Madam Chair, can I make a comment?
Sure.
Okay, so now to John's point, because we have this discussion all the time, and I'm in agreement with him. I will say that yes, he's right to a certain degree, but then it depends on how loud you fight. So as you guys know that I have a love-hate relationship with Deputy Commissioner Drinkwater, which is why I said what I said last night to her, as well as Ted Weinstein, and both of them are great people individually. Let me just say that. So I don't despise them individually, because both of them are great people. But every time I see them, I'm like, okay, what are we fighting about this time? And so with Commissioner Drinkwater, as I said last night, and John, you were at this meeting, and so were you, Carla, because you were sitting next to me. This was if you remember the meeting where one of our colleagues said that's the only something about the strip club, yes. Only legitimate strip club. That's still funny, but that was when we had another provider, and that particular, so two things happened. Our former mayor, all of a sudden, because he wanted to solve the housing crisis, designated all of these manufacturing areas as, okay, well, we're going to put housing there, right? So if you notice, even with the land use people that came in last month, they were requesting that we up zone to MIH because de Blasio made all of that possible. Obviously, the MIH program does not work. As I looked at the 2017, 2018 study put out by City Planning, or one of those agencies that says it affects people of color, right? So to your point, that's that. So I'm gonna say where electeds did work was at Assemblyman Denowitz and Councilman Cohen. When we fought Commissioner Drinkwater, we were able to get that temporary men's shelter on 4747 Bronx Boulevard removed, right? We fought them tooth and nail, and to the point where they actually stopped coming to us because I was badgering them, and they know it. And of course, they finally stopped coming to us because we were asking so many tough questions. But finally, we kept the pressure on, and they moved out. So that is a success, if you remember that one. A failure is the same ones that they're building right here now, Williamsbridge Gardens, right? Where the developer did all sorts of duplicitous things. The developer wound up partnering with another developer, hired a lobbyist who is, how should I say it? The lobbyist has ties with some people that we know. And the only elected official that responded was Congressman Elliot Engel, right? So all of our electeds knew about it because I wrote it myself, right? So they can't say they didn't know, right? But the only one that even attempted to work and do something with me, and in particular in the community board, was Elliot Engel. And we thank him by voting him out, right? So the one person that was trying to help us, we voted him out because, which he did say something stupid, but, for all of the goodwill that he's done throughout the years, we punish him for that. And therefore the one person, when of course I tried to re-engage him, I guess, and if I'm them, I'm like, well, hell, you voted me out. So you're on your own. And of course you see that building is going up. Right now, Mark Stagg not only bought the parking lot at Montefiore North, but he also bought the parking lot up here on Gun Hill Road in Holland Avenue, right? So Stagg just bought that where the funeral home is, and guess what they're about to put up? Housing, right? Because of course of, what we did. And the only thing that I say is, again, which I'm glad the community board is finally doing, is, doing our homework, doing the best that we can with what we're told and what reading we do, and make decisions. So yes, John, my thing is that the one thing that the people in Scarsdale do is they hold their politicians' feet to the fire, right? And I look at how Councilman Denham responds to, he responds to us, but he responds to others as well. And so I say that to say, what we have failed to do is hold our politicians' feet to the fire, because they can sit here and ignore this community board, and yet still the good majority of not only the board, but the community will still vote for these people. You know what I mean? And so that's why, we have what we have. And so until we hold their feet to the fire, then we'll continue to get this. The one thing that I'm very outspoken about, which is, well, let me just keep my mouth shut. The one thing I'm outspoken about is advocating for this community, because I don't give a doggone what any of them think. My thing is what's the best for us. And even though we're advisory, we're giving you our advice as to what we think. And if you vote against that, then again, that's up to us to hold their feet to the fire. And I'll just leave it there.
Well, so Dr. Burke, I just need to back up for a second. Are you saying that parking lot across the street from Monty Wakefield was sold to a developer? I didn't know that.
That is correct. Mark Stagg.
Wow. Okay. I wish Mr. Stricker were on this call, because I'm sure
Ursula sent out the notice. I mean, she sent out a notice a while back. So, but that was as a right, just like Stagg just bought as I said, the parking lot for the funeral home right up here on Gun Hill Road and Holland Avenue, right across the street from Gun Hill Houses. He just bought that, and he's going to put up housing. So, I mean, again, this is very easy for these developers, especially, and those are as a right. And of course, Stagg has his own money, so he doesn't even have to go to HPD, which means he doesn't have to come to the community board.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't hear anything about that. I'm just shocked and surprised and disappointed, because people need that parking lot to go visit their unwell family if they're in that hospital. I mean,
well, not just that, Carl. They need a parking lot for the funeral, but again, money talks and BS walks, right? So, again, that's what it is. If I offer you, I mean, well, anyway, he obviously offered made a deal that they can't refuse, and and he's about to put up housing. And as I said, Ursula and George, to their credit, sent this out a while back that they were doing that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I must have overlooked it. My bad. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, because I will take that up with the Monty Wakefield Community Advisory Board. So I have one last comment on Department of Sanitation and Recycling. Electronics recycling, right? So for 10 minutes, Department of Sanitation was doing curbside pickup of electronics. So that was an easy way to get rid of your batteries, whatever. I can tell you, well, I'm sorry, Carmen?
Now they tell you to go. There's a place that we have to go. They don't pick up anymore.
No, yeah, they stopped.
Yeah, they
stopped. Yes, they stopped picking up months ago. A year ago, more. So Woodlawn is what they call a naturally occurring retirement community, a NORC. So people don't drive around here. So you think they're going to take an Uber to Best Buy? No. So there are a lot of batteries accumulating in the landfills. So this is one of my personal issues. They've got to help. They've got to resume the curbside electronics recycling. Yeah. Who's going to go to Best Buy with, 6 batteries that are, used up? So I find that really disturbing. So, anybody else deeply concerned? Okay, well, I think we've heard from everyone. I don't think we need a motion to adjourn because we never had a quorum. Dr. Burke, is that correct? Can we just close this meeting?
Well, no, you've got enough for a quorum. I mean, if you include me, I mean, you've got 6 members in your committee, not including myself. You've got Mrs. Martin and you've got Ms. Ortiz. So you can ask for a motion.
Oh, okay. So that's 3.
Yeah, because Keisha's on your committee.
Okay.
Ms. Ortiz is on your committee, and then the 3 that didn't show up was Kevin Eichelberger, Joanne Manzanet, which,
Yes.
and
Okay,
Deborah Tomato.
One last call for any other comments, issues, anything you want the committee to have on its list of things to do? Okay, going
no,
once.
Madam Chair. I mean, this is like I said, I'm good. It's up to it's up to the body.
No, you know what? I have one little thing very quickly. I've talked about this with Ursula for a long time. Looking at these mini malls, these parking lots with cars for sale, and the fact that they don't clean their sidewalks, they don't go behind inside their buildings, and I understand that each vendor within those mini malls are responsible for their garbage. Mm-hmm. But they don't take care of this. And I think we need to start exercising some muscle with the sanitation, issuing summons to these people, because the fact that they bring down the neighborhoods that they're in. And I think we need to look after that also.
Yes. So, you and I spoke about this earlier, Judith. Where did the sanitation police go? They used to drive around here and leave tickets.
They disappeared.
They vanished. Yes. So yes. Okay. I'm going to take that down as another action item. They're
still around. They cut back a lot during COVID, but they're still around.
That's why I said we have to ramp up a few things.
Agreed. Yeah. And maybe even attend like Chamber of Commerce meetings and, share our concerns. Maybe that would help as well.
Okay, that's a great idea, Keisha. I never even thought of attending Chamber of Commerce meetings. Okay. Okay. Okay, great. If there are no other comments, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the meeting. Anybody?
Sure. This is Keisha. I move to close the environmental concerns meeting at 8:01 p.m.
I second that
Okay.
motion.
Any sec?
I second that motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So everyone, thank you so much. I'm a little disappointed. We were a little bit short on participants. I guess for the March meeting, I will work that phone a little harder. But thank you all for such spirited debate on the issues and all your input. Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot. So thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay.
Good
Bye-bye.
night, Carla. Take care.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. I don't understand why they're having it. Chamber's comments. Where'd she get that from?